We do have some breaking news to get to now in a different 2020 election interference investigation. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel just announced her office charged 16 people with participating in a fake elector scheme to overturn the 2020 election. NBC News Homeland Security Correspondent Julia Ainsley joins me now to break down this really significant development. So, Julia, what do we know?
It is significant, Kristen. So we understand the Michigan Attorney General charged 16 people today in a very detailed indictment. It's just been released as we're coming on air, still looking through these details. But these people are being charged with felonies because they conspired in December of 2020 to go before the Senate in the state of Michigan and fraudulently say that they were duly elected by the people of Michigan to represent their votes. As the state attorney general points out, Michigan voted for Joe Biden, but these people were going to sign papers. In fact, they did sign papers saying they were elected, saying that they were the rightful state electors when they were not, and they knew they were not, so that they could go forward to the Senate and present a different outcome, that Donald Trump had been elected by the state of Michigan.
One of the things that's so striking about this, and correct me if I'm missing anything here, but the Attorney General had initially essentially let this to the DOJ. And said, I'm going to leave this to federal investigators. And then this turn saying, no, I'm taking this back up and I'm going to handle this myself, expressing some frustration with the fact that the federal process was going too slow.
Yeah, perhaps because we've seen so many of what happened with the election get bundled in with other investigations, whether it be Jack Smith's investigation into January 6th, which is Trump's every way that Trump tried to put his finger on the outcome of the 2020 election. Also, you have what's going on in Georgia. But I think that she looked at the evidence here and saw that these 16 people knowingly conspired and signed documents to say that they were people who they weren't, that they had not been voted for and put up in these positions by the state of Michigan. And she's sending a message here.
Broadly speaking, I mean, talk about that message, because as you point out, there is this ongoing grand jury investigation in Fulton County, in Georgia, in which they are looking to efforts to overturn the election there. And of course, Trump world is watching very closely to see if he will be implicated in that. I mean, what are the broader implications, Julia, of these other investigations that are still underway? And as we await to see what happens with the January 6th investigation.
That's right. So based on that target letter, we may get more details on that soon. We expect the Georgia grand jury to issue a report in the first half of August. We're getting a lot more information about what happened in late 2020 in terms of how these states groups, people who vehemently supported the former president, were conspiring, and perhaps we'll be able to connect some of the dots and figure out that it was actually a national conspiracy. At this point, what the state attorney general in Michigan is laying out is specifically Michigan focused. But as we get more details, we can see the similarities here. And it's really eye-opening. I know you know this as closely as you follow the election process, but a lot of people don't realize that their ballots actually have to be certified by their state electors, people who are represented to carry out how the state voted, but that the process can be manipulated if there are people who try to step in and interrupt the way this process has been carried out for centuries.
Well, as you say, this clearly is aimed at sending a message. Julia Ainsley, thank you for rushing down here with this breaking news. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.